Tainaris.
Next was the dirty and dangerous job of heating the blubber to release the oil. The tripods belched thick, greasy smoke,
He's
and
the
burning oil
imposter
sometimes set
this
whole
time.
ships ablaze.
But the profits meant it was worth the risk, and by the late 1700s, more and more ship whalers were voyaging into the Pacific.
The first recorded to reach Aotearoa was the William Mann, captained by the famous British-American whaler
Shaped
Eva
like a
Bunker.
crew,
He
mate.
transported convicts to New South Wales and then anchored in Doubtless Bay in 1791.
Visits became increasingly common in the early 1800s, as wealthy ship-owning merchants set up shop in New South Wales and Tasmania.
Increasing numbers of whalers made contact with Māori communities, trading for supplies and recruiting locals as sailors.
Fun fact, the famous whaling novel Moby Dick has a major character called Queequeg. That guy is thought to be based on Te Pehe Kupe, a Ngāti Toa Rangatira who jumped aboard a British ship in 1824 and sailed with it back to England.
As with sealing gangs, whaling ship crews were incredibly diverse. Along with Europeans and Māori, there were Pacific Islanders, African and Native Americans, Aboriginal Australians, Chinese people. More than a few women went to sea as well.
Whaling was a truly global industry, and it transformed the Pacific. New Zealand, along with other places like Australia, Samoa, Fiji, Tahiti and Hawaii, were key hubs for the trade. Settlements like Hobart, Kororareka, Apia and Honolulu exploded into bustling ports where people from all over the world gathered.
Imperial powers like Britain, Germany, France and the United States were all keen to grab a slice of the growing Pacific whale trade, and conflicts between these powers had a big impact on the industry.
For example, part of the reason British whaling dramatically increased in the Pacific at the start of the 19th century is because of the Napoleonic War. French warships were attacking British whalers in the Atlantic, so they came to the Pacific instead.
Then the 1810s saw a downturn in British whaling when the Brits and Americans started fighting the War of 1812.
From the 1830s, the Pacific whaling trade became dominated by ships sailing out of Massachusetts in the United States.
By that point, there were a lot of whalers sailing around the coasts of Aotearoa. Historian Alexander McClintock estimated that by 1839, about 200 whaling ships were passing through our waters every year.
Partly that was because of a sailor called Jackie Gard, who reported seeing a bunch of whales near to shore in Te Moana Orokawa, the Cook Strait, in either 1827 or 1829.
As historian Alfred Reed put it,
And
It was a lucky day for Guard.
1,
Very unlucky
0.
day for the whales.
The whales Jackie Gard saw were Tora.
Europeans knew them as
We've
southern
won
right
it.
whales, and the reason they called them right whales because they thought they
Wow,
were the right
120
whale
extra
to hunt.
beans, bruh.
Parawa, or sperm whales, might have had cool stuff like ambergris and spermaceti inside them, but they were hard to catch. They were fast swimmers and mostly lived far out to sea.
Right whales, on the other hand, were pretty slow and gathered in sheltered bays to raise their calves. They also tended to float after they were killed, while most other whales sank.
That made right